Blog Talk Radio.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the Choppin It Up Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your official Marching Podcast announcer, David Thompson, and here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
All right, good evening and welcome to Choppin It Up. Tonight, I am your host, Joe Beard, and I am happy to be of service for you. Today is January 22nd, 2013, 8:30 on the West Coast and 11:30 on the East Coast. And tonight we chop it up with Timberly Smmons. Timberly Smmons is the founder and CEO of Muzik Mill Entertainment. I met Timberly at Johnson C. Smith the year after I transferred, and she and I kept in touch over the years. She has been doing her thing, big style, with her own business, her own brand, Muzik Mill. You can definitely check her out at MuzikMIll.com. And she's also doing another radio show right here on Blog Talk Radio, as I am myself. She has helped me tremendously in building my radio show, my business, my brand here at the Marching Podcast. So shout out to her. And let's go ahead and chop it up with her tonight. You can contact the show at marchingpodcast@gmail.com. Tweet us at Marching Podcast and follow our blog 4.themarchingpodcast.com. So without further ado, let's chop it up with Timberly Smmons.
We're now here in the Marching Podcast, and we are here with Miss Timberly Smmons. How you doing, Timberly?
I'm wonderful. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I really appreciate you taking your time to have this interview today.
And I appreciate you having me, man. I've really been looking forward to this. So.
Hey, I have too. Timberly is definitely a trailblazer, innovator. I got some of my ideas from her, and I asked her for plenty of advice while I started the Marching Podcast Network. So it was really cool to talk to her and spread her business. That's Muzik Mill. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I just wanted to say thanks again for being on the show. I'm really excited about it.
No doubt. You're welcome.
So let's get right into it then. Timberly, where are you from?
I am originally from born in North Charleston, South Carolina. Born and raised in Summerville, South Carolina. It's like 20 minutes outside of North Charleston. But I'm a South Carolinian, born and bred, Every summer of my life I've been sent up north, so that's why I kind of got the mixed up accent. But that's where I'm from, man. I'm from down south, hands down, with a marching band, up and live and, banging and booming.
I heard that. So now, are your folks from South Carolina too?
Yes, my father is from Ridgeville, South Carolina. That's like in the country, and maybe 10 minutes outside of Somerville. And my mother's actually from Charleston, South Carolina, Geecheville. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, where did you go to high school?
I went to Somerville High School, the Green Wave. It's in Somerville, and it's one of the oldest schools in South Carolina. So, I'm a Somervillian, man. SHS all day, every day.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, when you were in high school, did you play in any ensembles?
Well, I actually, of course, was in the marching band, and I was also in our jazz ensemble. didn't really play too much. But as far as like band, and then there are plenty of ensembles that I was in, like singing wise.
Okay.
But that's pretty much what I did.
Okay, so did you prefer singing, or I mean, did you like being in a marching? What do you think that you enjoy, or do you enjoy both of them equally?
I really honestly enjoyed, at the time, I enjoyed playing my horn more. But today I enjoy doing both equally. So, because I love music all the way around. It's in my blood. My grandfather used to play bass for Count Basie. His nephew played, y'all might know him, Freddie Green. That's my cousin.
Okay.
And he played lead guitar for Count Basie for like 50 years up until he passed away. And I mean, it's, Peaches and Herb, my cousins, like they've always instilled music in me. So that's just, what I do. So I love both aspects of it. I love the singing. I love producing. I love, playing my saxophone. I love it all the way around.
That's cool. I didn't know you had, that historical background as far as music. So you really, it's been around you since birth. That's correct?
Yeah. That's correct. It's been around me since birth. My grandmother had me entertaining folks on my little, those little brown pianos you used to get when you was little.
Right.
Back in the day. Yeah. She would have me entertaining people, and all I would do was start with the highest note on the keyboard, go all the way down to the bottom, and come all the way back up to the top. And then start, doing a little
right. Right.
And yeah, I ended like a little Liberace, and I'm done. Get up and bow. And I mean, but she saw the entertainer in me then. She saw the musician in me then, and I really appreciate that. My grandmother and my mother instilled in me. But yeah, that's how I really got. So I was born into it. I had no choice but to do it.
That's all right. And hence Timberly the entertainer. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's all right there. So now you did all right in high school. You were singing, you were marching. Now you had to pick what college you were going to. What was that process like, and how did you end up selecting Johnson C. Smith?
Oh, man. Okay, that was the hardest process because I came from a predominantly white band. It was a choir-style band. And the majority of the band was white, and everybody was going to white schools. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go to a white school, too. So I was kind of looking at USC, and then I was like, well, I want to be in the Tiger Band. So I was looking at Clemson. And then I was like, man, I want to do something different with my life. I want to, learn more about my own culture. So I came into the band room one day, and I went to talk to one of my mentors, and he actually was the guy that taught me how to play my saxophone. Shout out to Barry Montoya and Russell Scott. I went to talk to Mr. Montoya, and on my way into the office, I saw this this letter with a little marching band, a little high-stepping marching band dude on there. So I looked, and I was like, Johnson C. Smith University, where is that? So I asked him, I said, what is this? And he was like, oh, that's one of those show bands. He's like, remember we went to Columbia and you saw South Carolina State University and you liked them? I was like, yeah. He said it's the same kind of band. So I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, you might like something like that. So that's how I actually, got to meet Mr. Gray. I called the number he gave me the paper out the window. I called Mr. Gray. And we spoke, and then I came up and I auditioned, and it was just something different. And I'm that type of person that I like to step out on faith. So that's what I did. And that's really how I ended up at Johnson C. Smith. I wanted to really go to Clark, Atlanta, and so I could be in Atlanta because marching bands was, real big in Atlanta. But I don't know. My mom was more pushing for me to go to Johnson C. Smith because that's where her cousins went. So that's how I ended up at Johnson C. Smith, going to Charlotte.
Yeah, and Charlotte's a good city. My mother's from Charlotte, so I know all about it, and I was exposed to Smith at a younger age. So it's really cool. it's good to hear you and, you know, other people we've interviewed on the show just talk about how they were in high school and how they, you know, came from a core band, you know, and how the experience was different. And also, all to the people out here on the West Coast listening, she said USC, but she meant the University of South Carolina.
Yeah.
The real USC, you know, the real USC is South Carolina. So, yeah, so that's moving right along. So, and you decided to march at Smith. Now, what was your crab year at Johnson C. Smith?
My crab year was 1997. August 3rd, 1997 was my first day at Johnson C. Smith University.
Okay. Now, do you have a best memory or a specific memory from your marching days with the double IOS?
There's so many good memories that I have, so many best memories. It's hard to pinpoint one of them out, but I do recall one in particular where we played North Carolina Central in Durham, and to see the sparkle in my band director's eye, he was so proud of us, and he was just, we use the word crunk a lot in Charlotte, and he was crunk. And, you know, like, if your band director's not crunk, your band is not going to be crunk. But
right.
Just to see the sparkle in Mr. Gray's eye, he was so proud of us, and he was so hyped. Like, we made him, I've never seen him that proud of us before. And it kind of touched me. You know, I'm a little emotional person. I'm a bucket of water. I could be a bucket of water. And, yes, once I saw that, like, I cracked a tear. I ain't gonna lie. I know I'm not the only one, but just to see that sparkle in his eye, I have to say that was probably the best moment I've ever had at Johnson C. Smith University. Just seeing that man smile the way he did. And he was just so hyped and so excited that we dug in North Carolina Central that day. So that would probably be the best moment. But other than that, I mean, there's so many great moments that I've had inside that band program.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, one thing about Smith, it was a smaller band, but the whole band knew each other. You know, in my experience at Jackson State, you know, you had the people you were close to, and majority of the time it was the people in your section. You know, you were really, really close to, like McFadden. You know, him and I were, you know, best friends going through school, and, you know, he's our resident brass instructor here on the network. But also, I'm really close to Steve. You know, shout out to Steve Johnson out there, playing and he played trombone. So at Smith, you know, it was definitely, and Corey too. I can't leave you out, Corey Griffith. He's out there. We didn't play the same instrument, but it was definitely much more of that family type atmosphere with everybody in the band. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was just, you know, it was a lot bigger at Jackson State, so it wasn't the same type of camaraderie. But it's still, you know, plus and minuses either or. Now, and shout out to Mr. Gray too. We're gonna try to get him on the show and try to sit down and interview him so he could be on the show as well, and that would be really cool to talk to him.
Awesome.
Yeah. So when you were at Smith, other than marching, what did you decide your major to be?
Oh, man, I was so mixed up when it came to choosing a major because I was really stuck in that band life.
Right.
I originally wanted to be in communications and in music. You know, I have my own radio show as well, and, like, I really enjoy that. I really enjoy talking to the people and educating and inspiring the people. So, and I've always been like that. I've been in the broadcasting since high school. We had, like, Wave TV in high school and everything. So I really wanted to do communications. And then, but my heart was in music. And the only thing was the music program at Smith, when I first came there, it didn't have any accreditation. So they got rid of it. And that was kind of a damper in my career. Because I'm like, well, I'd already started here, and I formed a relationship with the IOS and with the people in the IOS. Like, I was scared. I was actually afraid to transfer at that time. So I was like, well, you know, my parents were like, well, we're paying for your education, you know, so
right.
you got to major in something good or whatever. So I ended up choosing computer science and information systems. And I minored in business marketing. But it's so much that you can do. Like, computer science alone is a broad major. It's very broad. You can do anything from design to coding to anything, you know. And then with information systems, you can do anything from network security to whatever. So it's just I chose that because it was broad and that I would be able to just pick it. I'd have more to pick and choose from as far as what I actually wanted to do when I graduated. Right. At the same time, though, it was confusing because it was like, okay, now I got this broad major. What do I want to do? Because I really wanted to do music. So I ended up doing my senior paper on a musical programming language that I discovered called C Sound, which is something like C++ mixed with Java, if you know computers.
Right.
But and I thought that was so cool to be able to make and create your own sounds. People use C Sound to create their own sounds. So I was like, well, eventually I want to be able to come up with my own sound so I can come up with my own synthesizer and put it out there. I'll be the next Yamaha.
Right.
So that's how I kind of took the computer science and information systems and intertwined it with the music. So I was still able to, intertwine music with it. But that was a long story because it was just that, a long story.
Well, yeah, I mean, it affected a lot of us, to tell the truth. I mean, it could be 100 or so of us it affected. Chris Jones had the same thing happen to him. Yeah. He transferred to Jackson State the year after I left Smith. I left Smith, because that was my major. I got there and, they said that, okay, well, we had the music major, but it's going to come back, but then they lost it. So it was the same for me, and, I wasn't really sure about what exactly I was going to do myself. And I kind of ended up at Jackson State just because of my dad. He had been trying hard to get me to go there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's getting into another story. So, it's really cool you talked about developing C Sound. Now, how did you start Muzik Mill? Like, how did that come into existence?
Well, I've always had, ever since the TV show Living Single came out, I always had this passion of starting my own magazine too, because everybody calls me Queen Latifah, or they'll call me Khadijah. They're like, oh, yeah, it's funny. It's funny because, like, I have so much in common with her, all the way down from the music to the acting, even down to her characters, Khadijah with the magazine. Mm-hmm. So, I was sitting, I forgot where I was, in the cafeteria at one of my jobs. And I was sitting there, and this guy came up to me and was like, he's a rapper, and he was like, he heard me talking about a magazine. I actually went and created like a fake, I took one of my photos from a photo shoot I did when I was modeling, and I put it on this fake magazine cover. And I was like, I just came up with the name Muzik Mill. And I put it up there, and somebody was like, oh, you got a magazine? And I was like, no. They was like, man, that looks hot. And then the guy saw it. He was like, yeah, well, I want you to start my magazine for me. And I was like, you want me to start your magazine? And he was like, yeah. So we had this meeting at my house and all. He got, like, some of our coworkers, and I'm sitting here like, okay, dude don't even know what he wants. It was like he was trying to take my ideas to create his magazine.
Right.
And I sat there for a second, and I remember one thing, one of my mentors he came up to me on one of my jobs, and he said, why are you doing this? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you could be doing this for yourself. And that always sticks out to me in everything that I do. You could be doing this for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm like, well, why am I going to just sit here and give this man my ideas when he got the original idea from me? So that kind of put some oomph in my step.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, let me see. Let me actually, see about creating it. So I started doing research on it, and come to find out, it's so expensive. Like, it costs so much to print a magazine, like a regular size magazine. It costs so much. So I was like, well, I can't afford that. I don't know. Even with my job, I was working at the bank at that time. I couldn't afford that.
Mm-hmm.
So I what I did, I just let it ride for a second, and it just remained a dream. And then I started working on my master's at Full Sail University. I got my master's in entertainment business, and one of the classes that I had to take was branding and storytelling, and then another one was internet marketing. So we had a project to do, and the guy was like, well, create like a website or something, blah, 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 whatever the project was, okay? So I ended up finding this website where I could create my own magazine, and that was the first magazine that I put out. So I turned in my project, and my teacher was just in awe. He was just like, wow. He called me on the phone. Now, normally your teachers won't call you on the phone. They'll probably hit you on iChat. But dude called me on my phone, and he was like, where did you get this idea from? He said, this is, like, potentially going to be $1 million project.
Wow.
And hearing that from a teacher at Full Sail, like these teachers at Full Sail University are in the industry. So to hear that coming from him, I was just like, whoa, really? That was in, May 2009? So in June 2009, I put out the real first magazine. Then July. Then every month the rest of that year. And, I mean, that's how I originally came out, came up with the idea and how it got started and everything, and how I've been going ever since.
And that's really the bomb, because, I mean, you talk about Khadijah, and I think her magazine on the show was Flavor, I think. Mm-hmm. You talk about that, but you also have the radio network. You do like a couple of things other than just the magazine. What all do you do with Muzik Mill?
Well, with Muzik Mill, I have, of course, the magazine. I also have Muzik Mill Radio. And Muzik Mill Radio, I have a few shows on there. On Sunday nights, I have the Rod Stevie Show featuring the host, Rod Stevie. He actually went to Johnson C. Smith with us as well.
Okay.
He marched in the band for maybe a year and a half. And then I have on Monday nights Music Talk, where I talk about different topics. It could be from anywhere from marching band to music industry talk. Anything dealing with music or music industry, music education, I talk about it on that show. And then sometimes I feature independent artists. I'm real big on independent artists. On Tuesday night, since I'm big on independent artists, I like to feature them. So I have this show called Pump It or Dump It, where I feature 3 different artists, and we vote, pump it, get your friends to call in or go online and vote, pump it if you like it, dump it if you don't like it. And we also give them feedback. It's not like we're just dumping their songs. We're not just hating. We're giving them constructive feedback, something that they can go and fix in their songs to make it better. Then on Wednesday nights, I have my original show that started Muzik Mill off. It's called Speak On It, Sister. And it's a pre-recorded show. It's comedy. I'm informing the people. I'm inspiring the people. I have people writing me Dear Sister letters, and I'm answering their letters. It can be about love or anything. Like, that's the show that really got me started. And then our latest show is called The Spotlight, where I actually feature artists that they're independent, but they're not in the beginning stages. They're at the next stage. They're actually promoting their projects and everything. So I'm helping promote artists on The Spotlight as well. So that's, what I have going on. And then MuzikMIll.com. It's like a social network where you can go and make friends. You can catch up on the latest life tips and press releases. You can read, stuff on fashion, health and beauty, find out about events coming up, newsroom, have it's a lot going on the Muzik Mill, on MuzikMIll.com. You can read book reviews, product reviews, movie reviews, music reviews, everything. And we just started doing video game reviews as well. We'll start that in the next the upcoming issue, which is coming out November the 3rd. So be on the lookout for that as well. But, that's pretty much what I have going on with that. We're starting Muzik Mill TV back up with a show called Let's Be Real, and then we have Studio Times with Timberly K, where I go and, visit different studios around the East Coast and just get feedback and video footage and, just mix and mingle with people in the studio and give studio tips and stuff like that, because a lot of people don't know that singing live and singing in the studio is two different things. So, but that's pretty much what I got going on with Muzik Mill at this time. Oh, and one more thing. Then I'm done, for real. But no, I have Muzik Mill Models and Talent. It's a network. It's a network of different artists, models, media people, and I have to get you in that network as well, Joe. And there's DJs, we have producers. It's basically a network of industry people where I bring the whole entire industry together, independent and mainstream, trying to bridge that gap between it and just bring everybody together, because there's so much red tape up for an independent artist or a new radio host or somebody to actually get their stuff out there. So I'm trying to bridge that gap. You know, there's photographers that need models and models that need photographers. I can bring them together. Producers that need artists, artists that need producers, I'm bringing that together. Artists who need DJs to put their stuff out there, I'm bringing that together. I'm just trying to bridge that gap and make a central location for everybody to meet. Because, like, you know, visiting this website, that website, you know, trying to get, it's too many tools out there that are all over the place. So I'm trying to build that one tool for everybody to use. That one central, it's like your one-stop entertainment shop.
That's really cool. I mean, you should be commended for all the things that you were doing. I mean, that was a lot. I mean, you know
yes,
what I'm saying?
It is. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that's perfect. I mean, that's exactly what we want to highlight in this show is, you know, we want to show young and educated young people, especially in the minority folks, you know, black folks, Latinos, or whoever, where we don't get too much of the attention for the education or the community service for all that we're doing. But for you and all you're doing, definitely you should be commended. We're getting towards the end of the show. I lost track of time again, but could you give us all of your information so that the listener can go out and support all of your venues, you know, all of your events coming up, like websites, all that other information?
Yes. Well, if you want, of course, if you just want to come to the Muzik Mill, find out about Muzik Mill Magazine, radio, and TV, you can definitely hit us up at MuzikMill.com. That's MuzikMill.com. Or you can find out about Muzik Mill Magazine at Muzik Mill Mag on Twitter, or just hit me up at Timberly K on Twitter, or Facebook.com/Timberly K. If you hit me on Facebook, you'll find out everything you need to know about Muzik Mill. I also do PR. I have a PR company. You can go to BuzzNetLive.com and find out, you know, how to get PR. We have a lot of packages out there that'll help you get the public relations and media relations that you need, media exposure that you need to get out there. And then if you want to just find out more information about me, go to TimberlyK.com.
Okay.
And that's it. I got too many. I'm on every social network just about. So, but just go to, you know, those websites and you'll find me.
All right. And last question for you, right fast. Do you have any advice out there for the young entrepreneur, the young musician, the young person going to band? I guess someone you could relate to looking back for the young Timberleys out there. Do you have any advice for them?
Yes. Number one, don't be discouraged. When it looks like it's not going to work, that's when it's going to work. You know, keep it moving. You know, don't let your family, your friends, or your peers, anybody discourage you and say that it can't happen. You know, just keep it moving. And then the main thing of all, this is what I learned from Master P himself, have a business plan for every single thing you do. Even if it's a business plan within a business plan, have it planned out. I ain't come to preach to y'all today, but the Bible says write the vision and then make it plain. Put it in the outline first. And then, you know, then it'll be easy for you to actually go and do the research on it and then put the business plan together. But you have to have your plan, you have to have your vision written out first and written out plain so that you can understand it. And once you understand it, then your audience will be able to easily understand it, and everything will flow just perfectly for you. That's
I really appreciate that, Timberly. It's been great to talk to you, and we'll take it back up. So, again, we really appreciate your time, Timberly.
No doubt. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, we're back up live, but we have overextended our time, so, we'll see you next time here on the Martian Podcast.